So get up. Top of the morning to ya.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. 33 minutes after the hour. Glad you're tuned in this morning. This is Craig Froelich on the Sunrise Show, News Radio 880 KCMX. The phone number here at the studio to call in, 541-772-8255. You can find it on our website, kcmxam.com. Our Twitter page, our Facebook page, Sunrise on KCMX is all there, along with my the links there, and then along with my email address, craig@radiomedford.com. Want to welcome onto the program Dr. Mark Christian. He's from the Global Faith Institute. He's actually the executive director and founder of the Global Faith Institute, and a born-again Christian. Grew up in the Muslim faith in Egypt, born and raised there, and is a OB/GYN doctor by trade, but has realized that Muslims are the first victims, and now he is spreading the message that we need to be more compassionate, and it does not solve everything. Of course, America is being whittled away. And Dr. Mark Christian, it's great to have you on the program. Thanks so much for taking the time this morning. So much going on in the political scene. You kind of scratch your head a little bit, and then you look at this G7 summit, and Vladimir Putin was left out, and you're kind of wondering... I don't know. The world stage is pretty interesting when you realize what's really going on.
Thank you very much for having me. It's an honor to be on your show, Greg, and it's always great to talk to you and to talk to all your listeners. Definitely, we are living in a very interesting times, and it doesn't take much of watching news or reading any kind of news outlet, and you'll see there is lots of crazy out there. Talking about the G7 and Vladimir Putin has been for quite some time opposing the whole plans of the West and the United States, especially President Obama, to support the Islamist movement in the Middle East and the Arab Spring, and removal of Assad to give Syria to the Muslim Brotherhood. And for that reason and other reasons in Ukraine and other things, Obama doesn't like Putin anymore, and this is why he's not invited. And the most of the talks going on in the G7 in Germany right now is all about how to put some kind of blocks in the way of Putin, and they are hoping that he will leave the leadership of Russia.
You think they're going to try to get Putin out of Russia's leadership?
Well, by the way that's going on, it seems like Putin is having very hard time keeping his leadership. And yes, in the long run, I don't know what they are trying to accomplish exactly, other than discredit Putin completely and let him lose his leadership. And definitely it will be the best hopes of, the West and President Obama right now is to get Putin completely out of the picture and to, to see another leader coming in place in Russia.
What's interesting is that I know their economy and their financial status is all based so much on oil, and they dropped that a lot, and of course that hurt the Russian economy quite a bit. And
this is why the oil prices were going down since last year, actually. One of the things that people are happy definitely by the oil prices. Are not going into the details why. Just it's good to be less paying at the pump, and that's definitely the reality of it. But at the end of the day, you have to look at why the oil prices went down like that much, and is it going to be for long? And I don't think it's going to be for long, because Saudi Arabia has been pumping oil into the market and getting the prices down as much as they can. And yes, the oil production in the United States right now, with all the kind of new technology, is going up and high. But it is not because of that the oil prices is going down. It is because of Saudi Arabia pushing the prices down as much as they can to sack and to cause Putin all much of distress in running his country and this economy, so he would leave.
It's an amazing play, because then you have China on the other side. They're also trying to take over islands and things like that, and then their currency fixation related to fracking on the U.S. side. It's huge as this is all coming to play. Meanwhile, we've got a presidential election. Mark, have you been? I know since you watch everything on a global stage, and maybe it's a stretch, but with this Hillary Clinton, the Clinton Foundation, and the monies, do you think that the federal government is going to do anything related to her breaking the law with this server and the fact that they took money in on the Clinton Foundation from foreign countries?
No, I don't think so. It's going to continue being just something going on in the media, that media will keep on talking about it, and so they get the media to talk about something against the Clintons, but it's not going to fly. At the end of the day, Hillary is moving forward strong because she has a long-run, tactics and so forth to gain the power of the people. So, the majority of the media is talking about that, but is it affecting her rates? Just a little bit, but she's moving forward with her own agenda, and she's gaining ground every day.
Mark, one of the things that once again, you're watching the Muslim side of things and allowing, Muslim leaders in the U.S., that doesn't seem to work well with, federal, and politicians. I wonder why they allow this if it's, like you talk about.
Greg, you have to understand this. I'm sorry to break it to you, but the Arabs and the Muslim nations have enormous amount of money. And there is no chance right now to find one company in America that is not doing business with Muslims and Muslim nations. There's no chance.
So it is the money, yeah.
They are in every aspect of American fabric and American economy right now. And it is a fact that, it's not only Hillary that took money from, Arab nations and Islamists. Everybody else does. And everybody else did. You talk about Fox News. Lots of assets of Fox News is owned by the wealthy Saudi guy, Walid bin Talal. So, it is a very interesting times we live in, and I'm looking from things from a Muslim perspective, as you mentioned, but we have to realize this. Islam is on the rise in America, and Islam is affecting the whole international political scene in everywhere. This is the most hot topic that's going on right now. It's not only because of the Middle East. It's affecting what's going on in Europe. It's affecting what's going on in America in a huge, big deal. I was just reading today about the top leader of ISIS that is leading the beheading of other Muslims and enforcing Sharia law. He's a guy from Belgium. He's a guy who converted to Islam, and Belgium is talking about him and the big group that he built. And what happens if he returns back to Belgium, because he's a Belgium citizen? He's going to be arrested. Definitely he should be arrested. But what about all the people that he trained? Islam is a big problem not only in the Middle East, it is over here in America in every way.
Exactly. Mark, we've got a break we've got to get to, but we've got Dr. Mark Christian with the Global Faith Institute. GlobalFaithInstitute.org is their website, and it's a fascinating conversation that we have with Mark. And Mark, hold on. We want to get to a break and come right back. And we're going to talk more about the Global Faith Institute and what's going on with them and how we can help. So stay tuned. More on the Sunrise Show on News Radio 880 KCMX. Craig Fronikin, Sunrise with Craig. A little bold, extremely fun, always hitting issues of the day and pushing your brain. All right, back after this quick break.
Shout, 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 I'm talking to you, so come on. Shout.
Morning, everybody. Welcome back. 49 minutes after the hour, it's the Sunrise Show on News Radio 880 KCMX. And Dr. Mark Christian with the Global Faith Institute is my guest this morning. GlobalFaithInstitute.org is their website. And a born-again Christian, but grew up in the Muslim faith, was an imam at an early age, and has found Jesus Christ as his Lord and Savior. And Mark, it's great to have you on. It's great the work that you're doing, but I utilize your knowledge of what's going on in the Middle East from this perspective that you have, and it's just amazing. Earlier this last week, I saw it, and it made me infuriated, was the report that 2,300 American military Humvees were now in the possession of ISIS, and I'm wondering, what are the Middle East countries doing? Mark, take it from there.
It's very interesting, the scene of the Iraqi running, and they are loaded by hundreds in one Humvee, and they're leaving all those Humvees behind, don't you think? They should have every one of them, at least, start driving one of those Humvees so you can have as much as they can. But they didn't. The problem is not only the Humvees, it's the stockpile of weapons that they left behind, and that has been supplied to the Iraqi Defense Forces by the Americans. And America knows exactly where is that stockpile. I have a quick question that I have been asking since I have seen ISIS take over Ramadi. There was a huge big stockpile of weapons in Ramadi that has been put together by the Americans. Why, after this stockpile of weapons fell in the hands of the ISIS people, why America did not go and destroy that stockpile of weapons and let it used and utilized by ISIS? We know exactly what it is, supposedly, because we are the one who put it together. So why nobody ever went in and destroyed it? And yes, ISIS is scaring everybody in the Middle East right now, and they are growing by numbers and by force and by money every day. And they are causing a whole bunch of disturbance to every nation and every human being in the Middle East, and showing off all the leaders and ultimate failure.
That's amazing to me, and you're absolutely right. Why aren't, we're bombing runs. Why didn't they go in there and just take care of that? It would have taken one day and they would have bombed all that out. But they're not, and they're putting fear in Europe now and the countries over there. It's chaos.
It is a chaos. And you have to look at it this way from my personal view, and that was supported by the Washington Post, revelation just last week. ISIS is playing as the boogeyman, showing off everybody in the Middle East as a failure and every government as a failure. At the same time, scaring the West and scaring America from the existence of ISIS. And that will continue on until they pave the way to show that the Muslim Brotherhood is a solution. They will be powerful enough to control, yet political enough to control in peace and have relationship with the West. And that is the solution. This is when that is paved on, then you will see ISIS is gone. And this is very dangerous narrative, to be honest with you, and that is supported by the report that came out of the Washington Post, says that President Obama is supporting the Muslim Brotherhood, providing them as a solution, as a political solution to what's going on in the Middle East.
It's amazing, Mark, and it's so great what you're doing. Your website, GlobalFaithInstitute.org, and you mention on there dignity. America has stood as a shining city on a hill to the rest of the world for generations, but now we're being mocked. And over the weekend was June 6th, and June 6th was D-Day, 1944, and you think about the Allies coming on shore, one of the biggest and greatest amphibious assaults ever in the history of the world, and they eradicated that, and they liberated Europe, and you're wondering, look at it now. It's a complete mess.
Yes, 100%. And look at Europe right now. Exactly like this is the nations that we liberated, and I'm glad that on End Day, America did not budge in and say, some good Nazi are out there, or they decided, the enemy is an enemy. We're going to go kill the enemy. And they did. I wish America has the same spirit. I wish America has the same leadership right now to identify the enemy and destroy the enemy altogether.
What's the next thing for Global Faith Institute right now that is going on that people can get plugged into?
Well, there is lots of information out there, and it is time to get educated and get understanding the times that we live in. I've been asked this last weekend when I was one of those conferences. I was, talking, and somebody asked me, why do we need to go and learn about Islam? Isn't it a waste of time? Because there is nothing we can do, and obviously I can go and enjoy something in this summer other than learning about Islam. And I said, you are totally 100% true. There is lots of things to do in life other than learning about Islam. But guess what? We do not have the privilege to go and forget about Islam anymore in America. Islam is the fastest growing religion in the United States of America. Islam is influencing our kids, our college kids and school kids, influencing our churches and synagogues, influencing our political system altogether. So it is our choice right now to learn about Islam and to understand what is the threat exactly is, so we can confront it and we can be prepared for it, or we can just lay down and have fun and enjoy our football games and the beach and so forth, and before we know it, everything we have will be gone. So it is time to learn, and this is what Global Faith Institute is doing. We are educating people to understand the reality and the truth of Islam, and also to how to identify the peaceful Muslims, the good Muslims, that they can fight along our side to eradicate this kind of monstrous danger out there called political Islam.
Mark, it's really hard to wake up every morning as Americans and think someone on the other side of the earth is thinking of us as the great Satan, and we are infidels, and it's a sad thing, but at some point there needs to be some defenses, and if the federal government's not going to do it, then we, the people, should. Nobody's
going to do it except us.
Yeah.
Nobody.
No, you're absolutely right. We were that beacon of hope back in 1944, and we came, we saw, we conquered, and we're going to be doing that again if we.
Yes,
like you said, Mark.
And I appreciate if our listeners support Global Faith. Go to our website, learn, and see how they can plug in and how they can learn new information, how they can get somebody from Global Faith to your community and to educate your groups and so forth, and to help and support us financially as well. We need every penny that we can use to further the scope of education and so forth. And there is lots of resources out there. We have books, we have articles that's written in every newspaper. So we are working hard to educate America and to usher in a great awakening.
Very good. Mark, we're out of time, but it's always great to have you on. And ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Mark Christian from the Global Faith Institute. Get to his website, globalfaithinstitute.org. And Mark, thank you again for all your time. And I tell you, it's an education. Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be back. More in the Sunrise Show. A couple of quick breaks, and then we'll be back after that.